Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and this story is moving so quickly and there's so much to touch upon that for me it's a little bit overwhelming. I know that my coverage has shifted to this, but that's because the Globe's coverage has shifted to this. And if you've been watching my Event 201 stuff, the parallels are frightening, okay? And one of the first things that I want to focus upon in this slow rollout, 1929 meets 1984 meets 9/11, okay, and whatever comes out of it afterwards, and you've heard what I've talked about, the Predator class coming out on top, right? For instance, right now, one of the big stories, and we'll hint on it, is that Prince Charles has tested positive for COVID-19. Well, he's going to have the best doctors around. And one of the very real things right now that people aren't getting is that this is real. The military has already just built a mortuary outside of one of the hospitals for this in New York City. That is real. And people can't get tests that want them. My cousin, firsthand, is downstate, wants a test, can't get a test. They're telling you anyone can get a test. That's just not true. That's propaganda. And hearing that this is going to be over by Easter, that talking point, that's fiction. That's scripted. That's basically to, again, put easement on people, just like the stock market going up, put easement on people from panic. That's all that is, all right? Because we are in a global transformative human event. And you notice what the media is not focused on, that mortuary I just told you about. They're not focusing on the fact that we had our first prison breaks in Washington State and that Rikers Island is not looking good. And they're not focusing on this. Now, hopefully this will play well. But I think it's extremely important to basically tell this story as it goes. And it goes of a disarmed public. Okay? Yeah, right now, pizza and Big Macs, that's all essential delivery. That's all essential services. Those will be scaled back. Remember, what's hiring? What's hiring right now? Think about it. It's big stores. It's Costco. It's BJ's. It's Walmart. Because they're going to be the infrastructure. And even Amazon's factories, a lot of their workers are testing positive for this. People don't understand what a big impact this is going to have. If you think it's passing by Easter and that everything's okay, and by the way, we'll get to the thumbnail at the end of this video, that anybody that wants to stick around, what the meaning of that thumbnail really is. Let's do it. Let's play this question, because while we get those Big Macs, you know what's not an essential service? Having a gun. Thank you, Flick Off. Appreciate that.
Due to your executive actions to close down gun stores saying they are not essential, the poorest minorities living in the most dangerous cities with the highest crime rates now have absolutely no way of buying a firearm. I lived in Newark and I understand this firsthand. You surround yourself with armed guards, so clearly you understand the benefit of the Second Amendment. At this very moment, how can a New Jersey resident who isn't already a gun owner exercise their Second Amendment rights?
So let's start right here. He says, how can I exercise my Second Amendment rights in New Jersey if I'm not already a gun owner? All right? By the way, he doesn't answer it because there is no way right now. Because as much as they're telling you you're not under martial law, and this is just self-isolation, and it's going to be over by Easter, it is not going to be over by Easter. We have not seen anything yet. I'm going to get to the news stories in a minute, but I'm going to let him answer.
Yeah, listen, first of all, it's good to have you back. You and I think, have a philosophical disagreement at a very basic level in the sense of the broad question of what does a safer society look like? And a safer society, for my taste, has fewer guns and not more guns.
Guys, I know you want the volume. I didn't download this one. Again, I can't do anything about it. For some reason, my audio boards with XSplit, every once in a while, they just kick back. And they only go at like half volume. I don't know whether it's a codec issue or whatever. But I assure you, there are no rights. We'll just stop it there. Anybody can go watch this. Everybody can go check this out. All these things are available. Like when you say that it's going to be over in April and people are going to be able to go to church, Well, no, it's going to take 3 weeks just to build the hospitals in the Javits Center that you're admitting to, Stony Brook University, these hotels. I mean, at least. And we haven't seen this hit other states or be tested like in New York. And as I stated before, even with all the testing right now, you have triple the cases in New York. Why is that? Well, there's a lot of reasons, but one of it is population density. I kept telling people that. That's why I pled with people I love. In fact, right before this, I got a phone call from one of my really good buddies I haven't talked to in months. He's a police officer. He's going to be in the thick of this. This is very real to me. I just want to let everybody know. My friend who's a dentist who had to shut down his shop is basically getting a draft-like form to fill out so he can intubate people. Do you get it? Do you understand that this is real yet? That this isn't some kind of fantasy land? And what's being pushed? By the way, thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. I'm going to be doing the Conspiracy Farm podcast later this evening. I'm really stoked about that. Pat Miletich, big fan, obviously, of MMA, and Miletich Fighting Systems was top of the line. Silver linings in all this, I guess, but there's not going to be many. So my boys at Truth Stream Media, and by my boys, I mean obviously Aaron and Melissa Dykes. Melissa gets it. I'm not trying to misgender you, Melissa. You know that. But they're right. Look who's the savior. Yes, it's going to be the Federal Reserve and the World Bank and the IMF. It's going to be those predator class members we've been showing you over and over and over and over and over again on Event 201 from October in 2019. Put on by Davos, the World Economic Forum, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and Johns Hopkins. All right? So let's just continue through. And when I was talking about Amazon warehouses, yes, again, it's going to be selective testing, but since asymptomatic people can pass it on, there's community spread everywhere. All this talk of point of contact and social distancing and fear, that's already pretty much just shut down most of America, right? Shut down most of America. And it's a slow rollout. What they suggest now will be enforced later. All right? And that's why that whole, if you didn't see it, that by Jackie Chan, when those cops were trying to break people up because they had, more than 2 people with them, they couldn't do it. Well, when it's the military, it's going to be a lot different. It's going to be a different story. But don't worry, it's not martial law. These aren't tanks on the way to Chicago. They're not military vehicles. No. I mean, they're not tanks right here, let's be honest. But he talks about seeing tanks being hauled in. But plenty of military vehicles. Don't worry, they're here to help. The military, again, if this was done the right way, and this was done in January, and this wasn't to oppress the people, if this wasn't on behalf of the predator class, right, what would we have done? We would have had honesty by the administration to the president, then the president to the people, which we just didn't get. Again, watch that clip of Pompeo saying we're in a live exercise, and Trump very upsettedly saying, well, you should have told us. Think about what that entails. All right? So all you people that think there's 47D chess going on and the deep state going down, we'll get to that at the end. But you are literally in fantasy land. This does not end anywhere near Easter. Listen to what's already been told to you. Get ready for warlike times. Do you think warlike times ended in 3 weeks? Did World War II end in 3 weeks? Because they keep referencing it. Did the impact of 9/11 end in 3 weeks? Because they keep referencing it. Did the Great Depression end in 3 weeks? Because they keep referencing it. Farkas Garvey, you are disturbed. We'll be fine in a few weeks. I sure am, Farkas Garvey. I mean, think about how mentally delusional these people are. What's the IMF suggest? Banning cash. Banning cash. Think about that. This is the SDR unit, all right? And yes, I get it, that this is all the way back in August. This is an older story. But like we talked about, what did they already try to implement? A digital dollar. A digital dollar in the bill. And what are we going to have? This shouldn't say could infect privacy and civil liberties forever. Will infect privacy and civil liberties forever. If you've been watching this channel and you saw the drones they're already using in Belgium, that are the same drones they are now going to be using in California. All real stories. Anybody can check them out. Very, very real. One person's like, I don't like the Daily Mail. And then somebody else just gave him another, they took the 5 minutes to search it and then sent them the other article that was mainstream that was now acceptable. But don't worry, infrared drones that patrol the streets and talk at you for gatherings, they'll go away after the coronavirus goes away. One of the things I want to positively focus on, again, thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share, is vitamin C. Not just eating it, not just staying healthy, not just, staying calm. A lot of people are, well, you're not so calm. This is pretty calm Jason right now, I'd say. A lot of things going on. But aside from, building up that immune system, getting that exercise in, feeling good, not fearing, all this, hype surrounding everything. And the people that are telling you it's the total end of the world. It might be the end of the world as we know it, but these people are trying to build a new world order. Believe the hype. Okay? Global, transformative, human event. We can still save lives. If caught early enough, there are already clinical studies, all right, that now somebody in New York, which is encouraging to me, which is very encouraging to me, because we're gonna also have to show you the makeshift mortuaries, which is not the best thing ever. I'm not happy about the makeshift mortuaries, all right, but they're there and they're made by the military. Okay, so you look at this thing, right? And basically 1,500 milligrams IV shot, but I think you have to get it like four times a day. Well, we could set up home visits to people that test positive and are just a little sick or asymptomatic and save lives. We've got vitamin C. We need to get this on the agenda and talked about. Because when I first started talking about some of these clinical studies, go back to my videos, go back to the first one. That tweet was taken down. And I said, hey, I don't have all the answers. But this seems, this seems at least a start. I get it. We got the hydrochloroquine and the chloroquine, all good. Now, I've been focusing on Event 201, and you should too, because when it's George Gao from the Chinese CDC that obviously lied to everybody, right? Italy's numbers are through the roof compared to China. All right? Think about that. Do you think that Italy, a nation 1/20th the size of China, with much more freedom of speech and access to the internet, somehow, they're the ones exaggerating the numbers and it wasn't China hiding them? But, George Gao sat up there with the other bureaucrats, the other unelecteds. People like Inglesby of the Johns Hopkins Center. And remember, they promote China's numbers. They promote Fantasyland. And they talk to you like children, just like they do at Event 201. So please, I've done 3 of the 5 videos, over 6 videos. So that's why some are part 1, part 2. Those are focused on different parts of the exercise, because they call it the global pandemic exercise. Go read it for yourself. It's right there. You can go see all the parallels. But we'll be doing the other 2 videos, that's for sure. All right. So when I talked about that digital dollar, here it is. Apparently it's been nixed, but don't think that a digital dollar or something blockchain-esque doesn't pop up in all this. Got another super chat. Joshua Arnold, will this virus be transmittable after one gets better? That's a great question. Whether it is or not, the hype will always be there. Or it'll be of another super bug. Right now, mainstream reports, remember we talked about the 2 strains and maybe mutation, but I've always said it might have been 2 strains to begin with, because if we're talking about a novel coronavirus, aka COVID-19, why are we talking about a second mutation? We're talking up to 40 mutations now, according to some studies that are in the mainstream press. I don't know what to make of that. I'm just telling you what's out there. You can check it out. But as I've always said, the forever invisible enemy is here, no matter what the outcome of this incident is. All right? So as they keep moving the goalpost, I think it's important that most cases are really military-age men, 18 to 49 years of age. And let that sink in. Now, that doesn't mean that's the majority of deaths, but we also have our first under 18 death. And they're not really telling you, I'm going to jump to that right now, there's really not a lot of details how young this person was. That's in the United States, by the way. So take it as what you will. I've seen people dying in their 30s. We're reporting on that. We reported how the home in Kirkland was. And I think that this is, they're saying for certain experts, will tell you this is 3 times as infectious as the flu. I've heard 10 times. I've heard 100 times. All right? But again, since we don't have actual asymptomatic, real random testing, we don't have a real mortality rate. We don't have a real infection rate either. Okay? So let's continue down the line. What's going to happen with the post office? Good question. You'd think that would be an essential service, but since we're going to be consolidating things and Amazon's partnered up, what role will the USPS play? Because the other thing is that they're saying, it could be on two days on a surface. No, it could be on 3 days. I've heard up to 17 days on a surface. So the fear base is already there to shut down anything and everything they want. Okay? And remember, Johns Hopkins did this study. They said we were the most prepared. Now, a lot of people are going to go, Jason, you didn't show us the makeshift mortuaries. You're a liar. You're a liar. Am I a liar? Oh, by the way, there's Minnesota on their little lockdown. Let's keep going. I'm not saying I saved the best for last, but people need to understand you don't put up makeshift mortuaries outside of a New York City hospital with the military unless things are about to pop off. Let that sink in. This is not fake, what I'm showing you. This is very real. This is something we have to pay attention to. And, with that being said, guys, I got to wrap this up because I want to see what's the next thing they're going to put out in the public arena, pro wrestling style, via the White House task force, and what they're going to prepare the public for next and move the goalpost to next. So I can only give you the sources of my material. I can only show you what's out there in the digital ether. If you want to see more, you can follow me at Jason Burmis. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, share. If you can financially support me, I really appreciate it. With that being said, guys, I absolutely love you. Reach out to your friends and family. Now's the time. Now's not the time for petty bullshit, I'll tell you that. I'll see you on the flip side.